Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, everybody out there? What's going on, Chip? I'll tell you what's going on. The SEC has deceived the people. That's no big surprise. We're going to talk about how they deceived the people because they did, and they now have admitted they deceived the people. So that's always interesting. And then Ripple, obviously, their big win, that continues going on and on. Not so great for some of these other crypto exchanges and platforms. And somehow the SEC, through their deception, will find a way to weave their way back in. But good news, there's an XRP trust. If, we'll tell you in a bit. See how you guys could invest if you're qualified. If
qualified.
And thanks. What is the real future of crypto? That's what we're going to talk about tonight, today, this morning, whatever day it is. We're going to get into that, going to workshop it. What do you think, Chip?
What do we want to hear today? Want to hear aggressive metal open, or do we want to go back to the OTC, the original open 18-second one?
Let's go to the 30-minute one. No,
it's not
grab
30.
Some
it's
coffee.
It's only 18 seconds, but it feels like 30 minutes.
Let's go with some aggressive. Let's get people fired up. People want to be fired up this morning. It's early in some places, late in others. It's like 10 p.m. over in Australia, 6 a.m. over in California. No, 5 a.m.
5 5:18, 5:16,
5 something teen.
Something teen. Yeah, something like that. You ready to do it? Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, welcome to On the Chain. There we go. Pump you up. Let's do it. Drop where you're coming in from, and all you people out on X. And we don't even have our one viewer on Twitch. Oh, our one viewer is not on there from Twitch.
Not on there yet. He's coming.
Probably joining at some point.
Over in Belgium.
Yeah. Which is afternoon there, I would imagine. Boom.
Money bags.
Bob, money bags. Boom, baby. So here we go. Let's go off to it. So let's jump on there. Hey, Mike.
Give a quick shout out where you guys are tuning in from. We'd love to know, love to see. And we are Twitchless.
Twitchless, Matt LaRoche.
Here.
There we go. So Grayscale, and they announced this whole thing with hang on a second here.
Big announcement from Grayscale. So they have announced the creation of a new single asset crypto investment fund. Get this? Now we have the Grayscale Ethereum ETFs, the Bitcoin ETF, a Bitcoin trust, an Ethereum trust. Now, guess what Grayscale is introducing? The XRP trust. There you go. You heard it here first and other places first. But
this is old. This is like news from like 2 days ago.
this is news.
You heard it here last.
You heard it
here last. Okay.
Here last, but
the last one's to talk about it.
But we're the best. We wait till everyone gets all their nonsense in, then we clarify it.
We're like Apple. We wait until all the features are released, then we just fine tune it a little bit.
Then we're fine tuning it. So Grayscale's trust. Now, how do you invest in this XRP trust? Now, you can get into XRP and not necessarily invest over here on one of these wallets and try to figure out how to buy an XRP. You can conveniently go over to and buy a Grayscale XRP trust somehow.
Did you know that the token powers the XRP ledger?
I did not. That's so interesting.
Did you know that? Did you know? Did you even know? Look at
we
that.
do now.
Look at it. Now, this is funny right here. He says, Grayscale sold their XRP holdings in January 2020 following the accusations against Ripple. This should be a lesson on how the SEC affected XRP holders. XRP should never have been removed in the first place. Yeah,
that's right.
It was 2021. It wasn't 2020, but close enough.
They got kicked in the privates.
They got kicked. Or you can just buy it on Uphold and then custody it yourself. Yeah, but the trust work, that's not what a trust is, right? So a trust works very different. And how a trust goes up and down doesn't necessarily correlate 100% with the pricing. So here's their...
Right now, the trust sits at around $11. So they're invested in and they have holdings of XRP. So the question is, how do you get an $11 trust with a 53 cent or 58 cent asset?
And the trust is open for daily subscription by eligible individual and institutional accredited investors. Wah, wah, wah,
I wonder what an
wah.
eligible individual is.
Well, you have to.
So
Well, you have
you
to
can
have a
either be
certain.
eligible or accredited.
Well, you have to have certain holdings. Certain
Yep.
levels of income, whatever. You have to have certain assets. I think that's, if you look it up, it's pretty sure that's what it is. Press release not to offer, sell, or the solicitation of an offer to buy any security by any jurisdiction with any offer or solicitation would be illegal, nor shall there be any sale of security in any jurisdiction which such offer, solicitation, or sale or unlawful prior to registration and qualification under securities laws of the jurisdiction. That wasn't written by an attorney. Hell no. What is that doing in
No.
a press
What did
release?
that say? We don't know what it said.
That's a bunch of garbage. Trust offers investors the opportunity to gain exposure to XRP. You can gain exposure. Gain exposure. I hope it performs better than XRP does. The power token. I never knew it powered the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger doesn't need the XRP token. XRP, especially with the DEX, it's, I guess,
Don't want people to know that.
it's a weird, awkward way to put that, but here we go. This is Ronnie Sharif Askari said, we believe Grayscale XRP Trust gives investors exposure to a protocol with an important real-world use case.
That's right.
What
is the other big one?
A real-world use case. By facilitating cross-border payments that just take seconds to complete, XRP has the potential to transform the legacy financial system. Well, I think they missed that boat. I think David Schwartz put it best when he said, we failed. Pretty much. I mean, that was when
they're not transforming anything along those lines anytime soon.
I'm paraphrasing, but there it is. Well, there's the big thing. And then
it's been paraphrased.
Eleanor Taylor put this out. Hey, Grayscale to launch its first. This was when she had the scoop on it. Was going to launch it, paving the way for potential ETF. Yeah, the ETF is inevitable. I mean, people are like, "Oh, will there be a?" Of course, there will be one. It's got clarity. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and Grayscale has led the market, led the industry with their crypto ETFs. So they have the Bitcoin ETF, they have a Bitcoin trust, they have an Ethereum ETF, an Ethereum trust, and now an XRP trust. So that means that the XRP, like you just said, ETF is probably right around the corner, and that they have a Zcash, a Sui trust, a Stellar Lumens trust. They have a Stacks Solana trust, a MakerDAO trust, a Litecoin trust, a Live Peer trust, Filecoin. They have a decentralized AI fund. That could be interesting. And they have a decentralized trust, a Chainlink trust, a BitTensor trust. That's brand new. And then XRP trust doesn't show up here yet. Bitcoin Cash. And they have a BAT, Basic Attention Token Trust, which I find to be interesting.
Isn't that Brave?
That is Brave.
Isn't that the token that powers the Brave browser, Jeff?
Powers
you earn it just by BAT just by using the Brave.
By being brave.
Brad Garlinghouse said, was pleasantly surprised to see this news, though inevitable as well. And as I said before, with XRP having regulatory clarity in the US and other countries, I expect it's only a matter of time. I don't know why he was pleasantly or surprised at all.
It was neither.
I don't think, it was inevitable. He's kind of like, was surprised, pleasantly surprised to see the news, though inevitable as well.
He knew it was coming.
We all knew it was coming.
Right.
Wasn't any big thing there.
Nope.
Ripple put out another one of their videos that I'm gonna queue up for the next video we watch here.
Sweet. We're gonna watch some videos. But if you go check out Grayscale, you can buy this on Fidelity. You can buy it on different exchange platforms. Nice thing is you can invest if you have a 401k and you decide, hey, you know what? I want to use and invest. If your 401k uses or allows different ETFs, which most of them should, I believe. That's an opportunity right there. It's still a little speculative. So depending on, how you moving around, what kind of risk exposure you feel like having. But here's some other trusts. Look at that. You have a Grayscale Bitcoin trust currently sitting at $47. Grayscale Bitcoin mini trust. This is something new that they rolled out. These mini trusts gives you an entry point at a lower price point. The Ethereum trust has already scaled up to 20, and their mini trust is at $2.28. So these four are active and and so you can have some opportunities
be
to
interesting to see the chart
invest.
on that. What's the chart on that? Do they have charts so you can see how it's performed over time, or no?
Nope. Let's see. Maybe.
It's gotta be
There you go. No.
2.2% return.
And what is it? That's the 1 day
Oh, the 1
market
day.
price change, 3 million daily volume, which is pretty solid.
But you don't know there's no chart to know how it's performed over time. It's
Well,
really
I'm sure we can pull, not on their website. Here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
That's all time. So this launched back January of 2024. Had a little bit, you look at that entry point of what, $41, and we're sitting at 47. Had a height when Bitcoin was sitting around 70,000. It was up to $65. And so it kind of rides the wave along with the way Bitcoin responds. So
that was all time what you were looking at? Because
this
it
is
says
all
August.
time. This is all from beginning, January of 2024.
Why does it say August below there then?
Where?
Scroll up a little bit.
I don't see August.
She says August 2024. What is that?
That's the next.
Oh,
that's
gotcha,
the next segment down here. So that's the last
I see
detail. So for August, if we look at the performance, like if you're looking at a mutual fund performance, over periods of time. So the market price over 6 months, sitting at that. Now, if we go to August, over 6 months, it's down by $15. 1 month and percentage. Sorry, market price percentage.
Chad says a trust ETF for a utility token, but why?
Right.
Matt says aimed at a dent in the universe. So far, got crushed. An aluminum can against the forehead. Pretty much how it works.
It gives people an opportunity to invest in crypto without investing in crypto.
Karma Carmichael's here. Is it here? It was all a lie. P.S. Good morning, everyone.
It's all a lie.
OG.
Right from the beginning.
OG's in the house. Crypto G's in the house.
So we're actually gonna talk about that. So yes, there were some.
I got a Margate, Florida, by the way. It's right by Jeff.
Right.
It's right by us, right? Not too far from you.
Not far
it's
away.
Actually closer to you. We have
30
Margate, Florida,
away from here.
which is west Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
So just let you
this
know,
area is so big and expansive. It's just like
we can come up with new names. We just had to steal them all from previously existing places. We can come
Makes
up
it
with
a lot
new.
easier.
Although I did grow up in I grew up in Western New York in a town called North Tonawanda. It's like a lot of, again, stolen from, Indian tribe. Tonawanda and North Tonawanda. There's a lot of Indian stolen names for cities up there.
Over there.
Bunch of stuff.
A lot of factories in Tonawanda.
See, you've got the Netherlands in here.
Netherlands. There we go. Pretzels and banana republics.
Pretty much the thing. Let's look at this video. This is a cool video. This is about Bitstamp built on the XRPL. Little video we're going to take a look at. Let's roll it. Let's make sure. Tell me if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, Jeff.
So fascinating, like this combining world of mathematics versus financial world, and that's what really, really attracted me.
Bitstamp, take one, part.
We haven't seen these videos in a long time.
My name is Eva Gartner. I'm head of strategic partnerships and corporate development at Bitstamp. Bitstamp is the world's longest standing crypto exchange. We've been in the space since 2011, serving companies and clients globally, very much focused both on the institutional clients as well as retail clients with over 5 million customers globally. We are one of the most regulated exchanges with over 50 licenses also globally, and very much focused on Europe, US, and Asia as our target markets. Approximately 50% of our active client base is on the retail side. The rest of the 50% on the institutional side. We are very, very trusted partner also of B2B2C players like Swissquote, Revolut were one of our first clients. Many banks globally use Bitstamp to support their crypto on a ramp for the retail customers, as well as many institutional clients trust us. We are launching our own derivatives exchange in the next few months. So that's something we are most excited about and really hope to cooperate closely with Ripple there as well. In final stage of integration of really some top 30 commercial banks globally on Bitstamp as a service. So this commercial banks will offer crypto through Bitstamp. So that's definitely something we are very proud of.
I thought the sound was turned up a little bit too high in that mix. It was hard to hear her because there's a lot. Like if you listen to it, it was very...
For the retail customers, as well as many institutions.
It's supposed to be in the background. You're not supposed to be competing. It's supposed to be light in the background.
Right in your face.
But you know, Bitstamp, you remember back in the day, that's where you could only buy XRP. It was like Bitstamp, maybe like one other exchange that they were like I think they were one of the first exchanges to actually offer, XRP. So they've been around a long time,
That was the first platform I bought on.
Geez, what could go wrong with derivatives, Jeff?
Nothing.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong there? Nothing. Nothing can go wrong there. Nothing. I say nil. I say nay.
So Robinhood bought Bitstamp back in June.
Okay, I remember seeing something about that.
And hence the rebranding, I believe, of all their colors.
Yeah, so they're going to keep it Bitstamp because they needed the custody part of it. They needed that. They needed the... Because if you remember, if you would buy Bitcoin or you bought Ethereum on using Robinhood on the app, you didn't own it. You didn't own it. It was just like it was there, and and you could only sell it. You couldn't move it. So that was part of the problem. They needed an exchange to kind of come in and
look at this.
Wanted to...
XRP is now available again on Bitstamp in the US.
Yeah, I think they did that right away. I think they were like one of the few to actually do this.
But I remember there was an issue using Bitstamp in the US, where the reason why we stopped using Bitstamp is because it was no longer available in the US market. They pulled out of the US market altogether. Otherwise, I would have kept using them. It was exciting. I remember in the beginning, setting up an account, using Bitstamp, first time engagement with crypto asset. Trying to remember where I bought Bitcoin. It might have been on Coinbase, but I can't remember exactly what my first entry point was. I think on Bitstamp, actually, you could buy with a credit card.
0.589
back then.
Look at the top left.
So I think that's what it was.
Top left, Jeff, 0.589.
Oh, look at that.
88. Just changed.
Yeah, I see it right here.
It's changing right before our eyes. Look at that. All right, so check this out. Uphold back in September 13th of 2020. Put this up. XRP just hit 1,000. What are you tweeting? And if we know what happened in December, the big lawsuit SEC against Ripple, and so they put out this just yesterday.
Let's try again.
Let's try again. Let's try this again. XRP just hit 1,000. What's your next move? And look at Oscar says, one of the OTC OGs. He said, "I'd be waiting for Uphold to resume its basic services that we'd all have been haltered." So he's basically saying the exchange would go down. You wouldn't be able to move your stuff off of it.
You wouldn't be able to do anything, basically. Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious. Love it. Hilarious, man. This is some good stuff.
But, you think about it, that's exactly what happened, right? You had during all the heated times, Coinbase went down, Uphold went down, all the big exchanges, all had technical glitches.
Right.
Because there was a major run, a lot of massive runs on the space. And,
you know what I would do? I'd move it into Bitcoin. Forget about a stable coin. I'd move it right into Bitcoin. That's when the real work begins, says Jay Claver. Mr. Use Case, I yawn and buy my $5,000 loaf of bread.
Right, yeah.
Jungle Link says, move all my money off platforms that post stuff like this. You are scary.
That's it.
Oscar Hernandez. I sure hope you don't lock up in maintenance, or act up when we go to sell. Isn't that funny that everyone's Tyler Boone says at this point, I'd just start an aerospace shop, self-fund it, and get some contract work. I liked how I loved on X where you had someone like an Elon Musk, right? And he's like, people are calling him out. He's stupid. He's not smart. Stephen King, the writer, who I loved I loved reading his stuff. He was a great writer, but he doesn't know much about politics. He was calling Elon Musk dumb, and I basically responded like, Elon Musk took a rocket, went up into the up into space, and then returned it safely to the ground. This is a guy who self-funded it, who took his PayPal earnings, put 50% into Tesla and 50% into the aerospace company. I'm like, this is a guy he's dumb. Okay. And everybody why does somebody ever want to censor it? Somebody, you say, like, you remember back in your kids, you're in the schoolyard and somebody said something stupid, you laugh at them or you joke with them, whatever. You wouldn't go like, you got to shut up right now. You can't say that. There were always these kids that wanted to like, don't ever say that, or don't do. People are just like, who cares?
I don't remember anyone who said that.
No, this is the
no one ever said that.
Didn't like what was being said, and they were like, oh, and they would get all like emotional. They turned out to be leftists, Jeff. Just saying.
Of course, all of them.
Yeah, every single one of them. So, but I thought that was
Check out this comment from Walter. Walter said, "Hey, Jeff, Chip, good morning. In California, have to get up early to catch you guys. I work 12-hour shifts, so I'm in some XRP, XTC, XLM. Biggest hold. This is a great time to buy. Uphold just added that buy with a credit card option.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. But he comes in from California, bright and early, 5:38 a.m.
What a commitment, man! It's up bright and early. That's phenomenal.
Didn't know he's in California.
Phenomenal.
Joins us
Jeff.
every Saturday morning.
Now, this is an interesting development here. Look at this. UK Parliament introduces a bill to recognize Bitcoin and crypto as personal property. New legislation aims to provide legal clarity and protection for Bitcoin and digital asset owners. It's like Bitcoin's over here and digital asset owners. No, it's the whole thing's one. There's still the separation. That's how we got altcoins, because Bitcoin is the coin.
Shitcoins.
And everything else are the other ones, right? That's how we got to stop.
Yeah, it's the first in. And the thing is, I think there's a lot of crossover talk. People still use Bitcoin in reference to all crypto, and I think that's kind of the notion also, really, is that people kind of get that. People don't know, so they're like, "Oh, you still into that Bitcoin thing?"
Yeah, isn't that funny how your friends always ask you about that stuff? Yeah. My friend told me the other day, he's like, "You're the one that told me buy XRP." I said, "Hey, I think it's gonna do something, but you know what? Everything's down." I said, "But then again, I bought when it was a lot lower. I made money, so I mean, if you bought high, what are you gonna tell you?" It says so. That's called the property digital the property bill. Officially and legally recognized Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, other digital assets. So with the new legislation, for the first time, British law would officially protect digital holdings such as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, non-fungible tokens, that's important, and carbon credits, that is not important. Nobody cares about that. So, of course, it's in Bitcoin Magazine. That's where we're looking at this. Essential for the law. Oh, yeah. Keeps pace with evolving technologies, and the legislation will mean that the sector can maintain its position as a global leader in cryptocurrency, bring clarity to complex property cases, said Justice Minister Heidi Alexander. Our world-leading legal services form a vital part of our economy, helping to drive forward growth and keep Britain at the heart of. Is that a Kamala Harris statement? What the hell does that even mean? Our world leading. It's like to unburden what has been burdened from what has been. Classic Marxist line. The bill aims to address a long-standing legal gap where digital assets were previously excluded from English and Welsh property law. And as a result, the owners of digital assets have little recourse if their holdings were interfered with, leaving them in a legal gray area. Under the new bill, the digital assets will be classified as a third category of property, allowing owners to benefit from stronger legal protections against fraud and theft. The legislation will also assist courts in resolving complex disputes, such as arising in a divorce settlement or as a business agreement involving digital assets. And the bill will also ensure that Britain maintains its pole position in the emerging global crypto race by being one of the first countries to recognize assets in law. And that's interesting. Jeff, what do you think about this development?
I think it's really interesting. I'm going to break it down for you very, very simply. So imagine if we want to take what was written and make it kind of a little more simple. So imagine you have a collection of really special toys that you play with online, like in a video game or the internet. Some of these toys are super valuable, like pretend money, called Bitcoin, or unique pictures called NFTs. Now, if someone tried to take your toys or mess with them, it would be hard to stop them because the rules for these toys weren't very clear. But today, the grown-ups in the UK government made a new rule. This rule says that these special toys like Bitcoin and NFTs are just as important as your real-life toys. So if anyone tries to steal them or cheat you, the law will help protect you. This way, everyone knows your digital toys are safe and belong to you, just like your toys at home. Now, because the UK has made this new rule, it also means they're one of the first countries to say, hey, these online toys and coins are real and important, which makes more people want to come to the UK to use these new rules to protect their special digital things.
There you go. Well, I don't understand why it's not protected under, Jeff, why isn't it just protected under, if somebody steals cash from your house, that's your property. So like, it's funny that it's, but with digital assets, it falls into like a weird gray area because
it's weird,
because it's not defined in the law, like money, fiat currency, cash, jewelry, valuables, precious metals are all defined. If somebody steals 2 gold bars, that's your property. But it fell into this weird area where, well, it's a digital asset. And I like that they're also protected NFTs. Suppose you have, an NFT that's, worth some money and, somebody, grabs it online or something, right? They steal it from you. You had no recourse if you lived in the UK or in Wales. You had no sort of way to, hey, somebody stole my NFT. Sorry, man. I'm reading the law. It doesn't protect you. So it's good that they're moving towards this. And it's weird how many other countries has this sort of gray area where you're kind of like in limbo if something does happen. Someone takes your ledger, they break in your house, they steal your ledger. Well, hopefully you have that 24 passphrase written down somewhere. But I think it's an interesting development, but it's good that they're thinking about it, I think, at least.
Right. It's good that the UK is recognizing it as something critical. Will definitely help with economic growth, will help the UK focus on economic growth within the space. If they can get over, here in the US, there's still some issue, right? Obviously, it's not clear, just like, in the title. But if you look at how, what has Gary Gensler and the SEC done to create deception and confusion in the space at large, whereas you see, in countries like the UK, we're trying to correct. They're trying to find and say, hey, you know what, this is a valuable asset. This actually is, something that belongs to each individual. And it also is something that's going to further economic gains, economic growth, innovation. So I think they're already on the forefront of this. The US, with where we're currently at, we're kind of at this stagnation. And you have a Gary Gensler who's making up terms, like a digital asset security, and they've now admitted that they made up these terms. It's definitely a form of deception. They did it on purpose. So they did it purposely to deceive the courts, deceive the people, because they use that terminology in the case against Ripple. And they kept bringing up this digital asset security as though it was a security and confirmed as it, but it was a made up term, didn't exist. They admitted that they made up this terminology. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. They need to be held accountable for their transgressions. It's one thing to say, hey, you know what, we're going to bring you to court because we believe that the asset that you were trading in was a security and the way you utilized it was a security to raise funds, and we're going to bring you to court because of that. But you can't come up and make up terminology and create an environment where you're writing the law that is now going to be applied. And that's what Gary Gensler tried to do, was have the SEC actually dictate and write law that he says was clear. So he came up with this terminology of digital asset security, which would make you think that the digital asset that they were trading in was a security already, because he invented the terminology that didn't exist. And that it's very misleading. It's such a deception. And they did it purposely to mislead the court.
I was saying it's leading. Like, how you lead a witness?
Leading.
Like how you lead something.
Leading. Right. It's leading.
It's a digital asset security.
Right.
Wink, wink.
Right. Exactly.
It's a security. Wink. It's like a leading, when you lead a witness or lead a question, you ask a very leading sort of a thing. Like, so you're guilty, right? It's like, what? No, I'm not. It's like, And here come the
Here
taxes.
come the
Right on.
taxes. Right
There
on
it is
time.
right there, Walter
Thank
Everett.
you,
Thank you
Walter.
very much. Appreciate you.
Out in
Thank you
California.
for that, my
Hopefully you're
man.
not anywhere
Yeah,
near the fire zone.
yeah,
You see
hopefully
those fires? I didn't see them, but I heard about them.
enjoying a beverage, just coffee and stuff. 12-hour shifts. That's a hell of a damn shift. So one of the things, I don't know what your profession is, because I know that my daughter she works in the medical field, and she does, she works 3 days, long shifts too, like 12-hour shifts, and then it's off like the rest 4 days, but it's hell of a 3-day schedule. But one of the things that Trump came out with was like, no, a lot of times people would want to work overtime, but you got killed so much in taxes. Speaking of that, Chad, you got beat up. And one of the things he came out with this week was like, he doesn't want to have taxes on overtime pay. So if you work a normal 40-hour week, and you work 10 hours overtime, that 10 hours overtime, there's no taxes on it. So it's a real incentive, because usually it's time and a half, right? So at least in the States it is. I don't know about the rest of the planet, but you have hey, good morning, Dean. We are free as Florida
and Buffalo
Rome. Black Hills. All right. And so, this whole thing of the SEC here, let's put this up here. So Paul Grewal, he is the chief financial officer, I think, over there. He's the chief legal officer. Okay. He's the legal. He put this up at Coinbase. He goes, hey, the SEC regrets any confusion it may have invited by falsely and repeatedly stating the tokens themselves are securities. This is a remarkable representation in footnote 6 of the SEC's amended complaint against Binance. I hope Stuart Alderati is getting some good sleep tonight. His head's about to explode as he wakes up and he sees this, right? So there it is in the footnote right there. What a bunch of scumbags, man. And then so Stu, his head did explode. He said, hey, Ripple's case is over, but the fair notice defense is still alive for others. The SEC cites that the 2017 Dow report as industry notice that crypto asset securities are subject to U.S. security laws. 7 years later, the SEC apologizes to a federal judge, surely a person of at least ordinary intelligence, for the confusion that it invited by using the inherently unclear term. And Jeff, we talked a lot about this. I remember when that first dropped.
Yeah.
Yep. It was in the first paragraph or second paragraph when you and I, and this is when we started. We used to just stream once a week, and what kicked it off was we did go. I think we went 6 days a week.
6 days a week.
We went 6 days a week, which
so much
proved
information. Yeah.
There was so much. We were breaking it down, and you and I were laughing at. There was like, what the hell is this? This doesn't exist. Like, just making up shit now, right? And it was in the complaint. There was no fraud alleged. I mean, the 79 or 80 page complaint against Ripple, none of this stuff existed. And that's when, shortly after that, John Deaton filed his writ of mandamus, and we had him on the show probably a couple days after he filed that. And the rest is history, as you guys know. Stu also came with this. And I love that Stu's doing AI work. Okay, there you go. See,
long
similar. That's what I was saying. That's the same with my daughters. Same with the. Yeah, you work those 12-hour shifts, man. It's brutal. God bless you, man. They're brutal. It's a long time. I don't know if people, I mean, anything past 8 hours gets to be a little bit rough, So Stu Alderati says, so the SEC finally admits that one, the crypto asset security is made up bullshit term. He didn't say that. I put the BS in there. And two, to prove a crypto asset security is an investment contract, the SEC needs evidence of a bundle of contracts, expectations, and understandings. I think it's time for the SEC to finally admit that it's become a twisted pretzel of contradictions. Don't worry, I updated your logo for you. It's a pretzel. Stu Alderati's getting in on the AI fun, dude. This is the best thing ever. Look at it. It's a SEC logo pretzel.
SEC pretzel. That's awesome.
This is fantastic.
That's really great.
Twisted pretzel.
I would have thought about that.
Twisted pretzel logic. I'll tell you what, if you had a little cart outside of the SEC building, you'd probably sell these on the street. SEC pretzels, so you could eat it,
There you go. Pretzels of a Banana Republic shows itself right from Sober.
Sober, yeah. There you go. And then we had
foreshadowing.
We had this from the fabulous Meta Lawman, and of course, he is the genius that's behind the super PAC, behind John Deaton. That Ripple donated $1 million, and the Winklevoss twins donated like $1 million together. So this is the one that Warren was talking about, but it was this guy right here that actually set up the super PAC. he goes, so he was commenting on Paul Grewal's, and he says, this is incredible. The SEC says it regrets any confusion it may have invited, Jeff,
Right.
by inventing the term crypto asset security. But this was the logical and foreseeable consequence when they embarked on a make it up as you go along sort of enforcement strategy, where the apology for destroying American companies, damaging our reputation for innovation, and then crushing U.S. investors.
Right.
Man.
Purposely. The whole thing was on purpose. It was planned. It was plotted. They knew exactly what they were doing when they came up with crypto asset security. It just didn't fall out of the sky, you know, and then all of a sudden one guy used it, Gary, or his attorney, but it presented in the court case, and they specifically had a purpose trying to tie crypto assets with security, and the use of the terminology. And like you said, as soon as that came out, we went after it. We're like, what is this made up terminology? How can they have made up terminology? And if nobody calls them out for the made up terminology, then we lose, because then we allow them to use it. But they immediately called them out. Same thing. Even Ripple at the time came out and said, what is this crypto asset security? It's, you know, it doesn't make any sense. And they tried to keep using it. It's amazing that it took all this time for them to actually admit that they invented it and they created confusion with it. Because think about the statements from Gary Gensler of how clear everything was. Oh, it's so clear. The law is clear. And then he goes off and invents that term. Again, you know, I said it before, but that terminology is Gary Gensler creating law, because he's now making a statement as though it's real, that it's a security, without there being any legal enforcement or legal guideline or regulatory guideline on what a crypto asset actually is. It was his personal opinion, injected as fact and presented as fact. And that's super problematic. I wonder, you know, what any of these, you know, how often they had used it, and if it had any sway on the court of opinion or the opinion of the court. And so then what do you do? You know, do you then refile? Do you come against them? Now they've admitted it. They got caught out so bad, Chip, maybe one of their attorneys was reviewing and saying, oh shit, we better get ahead of this one.
Yeah,
Something's
because
coming down the pipeline.
The judge is going to hammer them, or maybe something happened. You don't just go and apologize for that
out of the blue. Like out of the blue, all of a sudden they're going to start talking about it. Like, I mean, there's like that. It's crazy.
This is funny. Ellie Terra put this out. She says, is it now a good time to point out that the SEC is still using the term crypto asset security in its investor alert blasts?
Right.
Scammers often. So I'm like, they're still using it. So
look at that.
5 ways fraudsters may lure victims into scams involving crypto asset securities. What? Whoa.
Uh-oh,
Jeff,
Gary.
My face got red, Jeff. I turned normal face, and then I got angry.
You were angry.
Happy.
Why wouldn't you get angry? First, you're going to get, what is their website? Oh, investor.gov.
Here it is right here. So there it is.
I believe that there's no, investor.
Now what's funny is,
all right, so what is that under? What would that be? Fraud and scams?
Yeah, it's under, it's at SEC Gov, but if you look at it right there, scams involving crypto asset securities. So what the hell? And this was put out with, this is September 12th. When did they actually do this apology? When was the apology tour? When was this? Okay, that was put out on the 12th, and on the 13th they commented on it, but I don't know when that dropped.
That's crazy. Yeah,
but they're still using it.
Watch out for scams. Look at this. It's been a while since I've actually explored their website. Look how great it is. Investor.gov. If you come here, you can learn all sorts of amazing things.
That looks like
and terminology.
Pile of shit. Shit. Jesus.
Can you believe this is their website?
God, that is garbage, man.
First of all, it looks horrible. Number one, you know, and that number two, the content here is laughable. But you go over here, they have a button for crypto assets. Look at this.
Yeah, and come to register.
A lot of clicking. Click here to learn 5 things that may help you avoid crypto asset scams. You should know that those who are offering crypto asset investments or services may not be in compliance with applicable law, including federal securities law. These investments can be speculative, risky, and volatile. If you're considering an investment opportunity involving crypto asset, you may be wondering if it's legal, if it's right for you. or even whether it might be a scam. We urge you to be cautious in considering whether crypto asset investments are appropriate. Generally speaking, there are two ways in which exchange-traded product, ETPs, provide exposure to the price of Bitcoin and Ether. Look at nothing else, just Bitcoin, Ether, right? That's Bitcoin and Ether future ETPs provide exposure to the price of Bitcoin and Ether by holding future contracts based on the crypto asset. These future ETPs primarily are structured as exchange-traded funds, or ETFs.
Suckers.
Then they have the spot Bitcoin ETP. Look at this here. Provide spot Bitcoin and Ether ETPs provide exposure to the price of Bitcoin or Ether by holding the crypto asset itself. Spot Bitcoin and Ether ETPs are structured as exchange-traded commodity trusts. They're not ETFs that are registered under Investment Company Act of 1940. So they give you a lot of scary stuff. Look at celebrity endorsements, SEC crypto assets and cyber enforcement actions. Exercise
Garbage.
caution.
Bunch of garbage.
Watch out for scams. Look at that. How we trade investment. Really? Understand it. And then look who's here. Look at this. Look how cool he's trying to be. What do you think about that thumbnail?
What do the securities laws have to do with goldfish?
Oh my God.
Nothing.
Seriously.
Douchebag.
Hi, this is Gary Gensler, and welcome back to Office Hours.
Look how great that audio was. See it?
Yeah,
It was all tinny.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford a microphone.
They couldn't even clean it up in post-production. This is ridiculous.
But one thing we're not neutral on is investor protection. Our agency, the SEC, has had rules for decades to
Get rid of this guy already, please. This guy's a clown. Speaking of which, go to this.
Believe that website.
I can't watch him anymore. Look at this one. Gary Gensler-led SEC directs crypto firm to halt trading on all coins but Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash. Well, I hate to tell you, but why would they be halting it on XRP when it has legal clarity? It's the only one that does.
That's right.
Ethereum doesn't have legal clarity, but they're telling the SEC that they, So what happened?
When was that? What's the date?
This is the 13th of 2024.
September.
As
in yesterday.
Yeah, what happened? According to a press release on Thursday, the SEC found that the U.S. arm of the Israel-based multi-asset company's operations violated securities laws by, this is eToro, yeah. eToro. And what are they going after? An Israeli-based company? I mean, if they sell in the U.S., but the thing is like XRP, the company consented to pay 1.5 million in penalties and agreed to scale back its cryptocurrency operations in the country. So what do? They went after an Israeli-based company who was selling, digital assets in the U.S. and they just hammered with the $1.5 million, and they agreed to we're not going to sell stuff anymore. This is how they protect investors. Right. Significant aspect of the settlement was a directive to halt trade of all other cryptocurrencies except for. I see a lawsuit right here. I'm sure it's pending. Yep. And say why did you stop them from selling XRP when it's got legal clarity? This is ridiculous.
So then stop selling everything but Bitcoin and ETH. But I don't get it. I've always seen eToro. They've always been in the marketplace.
Yeah, for a long time.
I just don't get buy cryptocurrencies. Here's what you can find.
I don't know.
I don't understand where the security comes in. I always like, the platform's nice. It's easy to see, easy to use. Here's some XRP. You can trade it. I don't know.
It's weird, Jeff. Nobody knows.
Presented really nicely. I
thought eToro was always a good platform.
Yeah.
But again, now they can't sell XRP in the U.S., even though it has legal clarity, right? And then, if the SEC hasn't officially come out and designated Ethereum or Bitcoin or allowed this and that, whatever it is, how can they restrict the trading when they've never said that it has clarity? They invented some more shit again. They're going to say that we are now going to, the official ones are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course Bitcoin Cash, which was a fork of Bitcoin, technically done by somebody, whoever did the fork, right? So this whole thing is just reeks of stupidity. And Jeff, we had the debates. We're moving to some geopolitics. We had the debates the debate this week, and everybody, was looking back at, Kamala's performance, and they're like, "So, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" I was born in a family of blah 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 blah. Never answered one question. It was all these rehearsed lines. Then it turns out that they got the lines ahead of time, and
Yep.
So anyway, I saw this
100%.
political cartoon that it was pretty good. You've got a guy drowning with his hand held up, and it says America, and then the cesspool of the whatever the quicksand is. 3 years of Harris policies. He's America's drowning in it. You've got Trump that's offering a branch trying to get America out of there, and you got Harris over there saying you're fine. He's lying to you. Just pretty much sums it all up, right? It's like just lie, cheat, whatever, steal. Get the questions ahead of time. Where are these interesting earrings? It's just the whole thing is like just it's out of control.
Oh, so by the way, just real quick, eToro headquarters in Israel, probably Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
It's has a office in the U.S., an office in the U.K., it's in Cyprus, and an office in Australia. It meets. Look at this. Its main research and development is in Tel Aviv. The firm is regulated by CySec authority in EU, authorized by FCA in UK, and by FinCEN in the US, and by ASIC in Australia. So it did everything it had to do, except Gary didn't like it. It's gone through all the big, it's regulated and authorized by FinCEN, but Gary doesn't like it.
Mike says that I exchange money to crypto, another form of money, just like you'd exchange one form of money for another when you go to another country. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
And that's the crazy thing. If you're FX trading and you're selling one currency for the other and you're making realized or unrealized gains because you're trading currency, it's probably going to be a taxable event. But the other part of it is if I change my dollars into euro and I lose money at some point when I have to change it back, it's not a taxable event. It's not, so I'm going to move my XRP into US dollars because I have to go buy something. Why is that now a taxable event? Because I trade my XRP. I'm not trading it. If I'm holding US dollars today and I go and I've held them for a year, and I go and get euro and euro's up and down, why am I now going to be penalized? Or if I come back from Europe with euro and I bought it at a low and now it's at a high and I decide to sell it in the US market to get my dollars back, I made money on it. Is that now a taxable event? I mean, it's so crazy. It's a currency that we're moving around, and unless you're trading it on an exchange there, and if you're just holding your XRP in a wallet and you're moving it to another currency, it should not be a taxable event. That's the crazy part. And this is they've got to get that under check. It's got to be regulated like that. And we have to move beyond. We definitely have to move beyond where we're at right now.
Yeah, right here we see crypto for advisors. Tokenization of real world assets could actually help stabilize crypto volatility impacts on performance while streamlining portfolio management. It goes on to say the creation of these digital representation of assets in a blockchain-based token is growing. In today's issue, Herwig Konings from the security token market examines the growth of this industry, why tokenization matters. And this is one of the pivots that Ripple is making into tokenization, which is a massive market. So everything at some point will be tokenized. Real estate's one of the biggest ones. But again, this tokenization is going to matter. And I think they're kind of spot on with this headline here that they're talking about the fact that it will stabilize. It can certainly help stabilize the volatility impacts on performance. So it's something that is pretty interesting. Jeff, there was
Evan needs a short stack and a cup of swill.
Oh, there you go.
Luke just jumped in from Naples, Florida, not too far away.
Luke?
It's only about 78 miles from here. So it's right across the alley.
No, they're not a Canadian company because they weren't even mentioned.
No, they don't even have they have no office in Canada. What was that company in Canada where the guy went to England or India?
And he disappeared.
And they said he supposedly died over there. And he took the ledger with him. that was the
Yeah,
only access
sketchy.
to all the crypto assets of hundreds of millions of dollars or
That's
whatever it
right.
was,
I
and
remember,
never
yeah,
to be heard from again.
he scammed it.
He went to the one part of India that people go to disappear in, not necessarily be murdered, but murdered.
Yeah, he was dead. Nobody found a body or anything, but somehow he died. There was some weird thing about that whole deal, which is funny. So Jeff, I saw this. This is check this out. This is called the MAGA people. So it's an interesting little thing that I saw. This is Nicole Shanahan, former VP running mate of RFK Jr. Here we go.
RFK. She's been putting some good
Across
stuff
the
out.
Atlantic in the North American country of the United States lies a fascinating and often misunderstood collective. From its northeastern cities to its midwestern towns to its expansive west, this courageous group of individuals are most notably known for their unwavering patriotism. Join us as we explore the fascinating world of the MAGA people. As we embarked on our journey, we were judicious in taking
This first of all, the narration. This is like a 1960s or 50s or 70s.
I love it.
The
Yeah.
MAGA people, the judicious people. The narration is the script is awesome.
all necessary precautions. Our media had warned us that these were a vicious, radical, and even deplorable people.
Deplorable. First encounter with the MAGA people.
Contrary to what we had been told, we found the MAGA people to be warm, loving, and even rather cheeky at times.
Cheeky.
As we spent time with the MAGA people,
love it.
we learned that their mantra, "Make America Great Again," is an optimistic belief that the United States will once again prosper by returning to its founding principles of a government by and for the people. Under these beliefs, the MAGA people strive to protect America's Constitution, freedom of its citizens, health of its people, and a yearning to restore the American dream that existed not so long ago. Notice their rather wholesome, familial demeanor. They often talk about their love of family, the importance of truth, and a desire for basic human rights. As they strive to uphold the peace and harmony throughout their communities, the MAGA people are insistent on protecting their borders. However, they are not inherently confrontational, as they advocate for ending the wars and military presence abroad. Further observations reveal that MAGA people come from all walks of life, including farmers and ranchers, family-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, health advocates, blue-collar workers, and military servicemen. And just recently, the MAGA people joined forces with another group, the MAHA people. Together, the MAGA and MAHA have started a movement to make
Like
America
that.
healthy again.
Maha.
As we departed back to our native land, we couldn't help but reflect on all that the MAGA people
The
had taught
biplane.
us. Once perceived as a dangerous and barbaric group, we found ourselves feeling enlightened by the MAGA's moral, ethical, and honest ways of life. One could only hope that a similar movement would eventually emerge for us.
That's funny. Oh my God.
Okay, that's just nothing short of brilliant right there.
That's awesome. I love the
MAGA.
Maha. The Maha people.
MAGA people, and the MAHA and the MAGA people.
Oh my
They've joined
God.
forces, Jeff. They've joined forces.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
That is
mean,
so awesome.
it's amazing the stuff that she's putting out. I mean, and she used to be on the far left, and I was shocked when he picked her because I was like, oh my gosh, she might be more left than her. And what have we found out? We found out that indeed she's. Go ahead, read that.
That's an interesting comment. But if Trump thinks Bitcoin can pay off our national debt and more, then we shouldn't have income taxes. Well, yeah, if you go to Bukele, when he came and spoke in front of CPAC, and he was talking about taxes, income tax, and he was talking about the overprinting of the US dollar, and he obviously came from El Salvador, guy's very highly educated, speaking in front of CPAC, said that people have to understand that our taxation system is a scam. I mean, you just take him from what he said, in front of the world. But it's an interesting point. You have to investigate it further. But due to the overprinting of the US dollar, with the government just basically printing what they need, he said the taxation system is put in place mainly to give you the illusion that our tax dollars are actually paying for things. But if you actually look at tax receipt based on expenditures, there's no way it can cover. So if you're going into a deficit and they're overprinting, then what's the point? right? What is the point of your tax system if they're just printing the dollar into oblivion? Now, at some point, you do have to have collectibles, paying off your receivables and your debt and your, whatever, at some point in time,
You think?
there has to be a balance. You have to stop printing into oblivion. But if, to that point, if there's enough Bitcoin out there to pay off our national debt, bring us back to zero, you're still going to have income taxes, because, then where do you go from there? Because now you're at zero.
You don't have to have income taxes. That's why
you
you
don't
have
to.
tariffs.
Right.
That's why the government was
there's other
funded
ways to do it.
before. Well, the Federal Reserve we got to get rid of it. I think Trump
there's
will.
way too
I
much
think that
debt.
all the signs are there. So what does he announce? People that are working in, the hospitality industry, no tax on tips. Okay. You start seeing him pulling back on the taxes. Okay. He wants to then, for people that are working more than 8-hour shifts that have overtime, no tax on overtime. You see where this is going? No tax. It's going to the no tax at all.
That's
and
right.
You're talking about tariffs. And who's against tariffs? The leftists are. And there were tariffs on China, and they said that an iPhone is now going to cost $3,500. An Android phone is going to cost $4,000. None of it ever happened. This is a valuable market. It isn't going to happen. But and they're still touting that it'll never work. And it was like, he already proved it worked. Did you forget he was president for 4 years? It already proved out that it worked. And so I wanted to play. Here's a girl. I don't know.
And that's a solid point, though, Chip. Before you go into that, is I like that idea. The tariff. Because we're still going to import goods. So why not, find a way to leverage everything that's imported to cover your tax base? And if you need extra to figure out, roads and military and, Social Security and all those other things, then you can support that through some sort of a quote unquote, flat tax, fair tax, on consumption. So you have tariff, which would be consumption, bringing product in. Why shouldn't other countries have to pay a fee in order to bring their goods and products into this country? And even if some of it is offset in the price, and not all of it will, because there's going to be a profit margin. And obviously tariffs are going to be covered under the margin. They're going to figure it out. The marketplace is still going to make a determination on value of product. And there's going to be multiple countries, and there's going to still be, a trade war and, retail product war in terms of pricing, and let the market dictate where it's at. As soon as you artificially, try to prop things up, and the tax part of it, and there's so many videos obviously on it, but we're overburdened with tax. We started with a 2% tax on tea, and and there was a revolt, years and years ago, obviously, and now who knows what
taxation without representation.
What our percentages of tax on everything that we do, everything, just walking, just breathing now, there's tax on everything we use, everything we do, everywhere we move. It's way too much. And Bob Moneybags, I like that statement that the top 1% do contribute about 45% to the tax pool. The whole tax the rich is a fictitious narrative of socialist Marxists, where they create class warfare. The one thing that the left does very well, they try to divide by race, and they try to divide by socioeconomic status overall, right? So it's economics. Let's have a divide based on that, and then social, division. They love it. They love dividing, and that's a great point. You look at how much money Elon Musk has paid in taxes, and his companies have paid in taxes, is astronomical, right? And the Trump company, how much money does he pay in taxes as a company overall, and all the people that they employ, and they're paying taxes on every single employee, right? There's tax upon tax upon tax, and they're employing people. So they look at, let's penalize the rich. Okay, well, how about they stop employing people then? They stop innovating, or they stop building. And now, there's a limit. You can't keep punishing the people. Eventually, like Margaret Thatcher said, you'll run out of other people's money. You can't keep doing that. And so their notion and their ideas are so extreme Marxist that, we got to get away from that. And I like this idea. If we can get rid of the Fed, if we can move away from this overtaxation, we can stop all the corruptive programs, giving away money for houses, especially to bringing in this illegal invasion of quote unquote migrants. The list goes on and on, paying for people's tuition, school tuition. Why are people automatically rewarded with, if we're going to pay for someone's tuition, we better get something out of it. Don't go and study, the dance of monkeys in Africa, or, let's actually have a real degree to where we're going to get something out of you. Because if that's what you're going to study, guess what? We're going to ship you overseas. You can go stay over there and see, and they bring no value. That doesn't make sense. So
it makes no sense. Legendary says we're taxed on things that are taxed on, that we're taxed on, that we're taxed. It's exactly what it is.
We're taxed on everything. It's
gotten to be absolutely insanely different. But here's a young girl who's going to set everybody straight, and she's going to explain how the economic system, she happens to be talking about Canada, but we all kind of know what she's talking about here.
Yeah.
Allow me to explain how our private banks and government work today. First, the Canadian government borrows money from the private banks. They then lend the debt-based money to Canada with compounded interest. The government then continues to increase taxation of Canadians year after year in order to pay back the interest on the exponentially growing national debt. What results is inflation, less real money for Canadians to spend into our economy, and the real money being used to pad the pockets of the banks. Also, the government gave the banks the ability to loan out money that doesn't exist in the form of loans. When a bank gives you a mortgage, which literally means a death pledge, or a loan, they don't actually give you money. They click a key on a computer and generate the fake money out of thin air. They don't actually have it in their bank vaults. Presently, the banks only have $4 billion on reserve, but they have loaned out over $1.5 trillion. To quote Graham Towers, each and every time a bank makes a loan, a new bank credit is created. New deposits, brand new money. Broadly speaking, all new money comes out of a bank in the form of loans. As loans are debt, then under the present system, all money is debt.
Yep.
What I find interesting is even Jesus in Matthew 21.
Now, what I find interesting, the fact that this kid knows more about what's going on in the world. I don't know what the audience she's speaking to. She's not on a teleprompter. She probably rehearsed all this, but still, obviously she probably had help, but still, Jeff, this is incredible. Now she's going to quote scripture here. I don't know what's going on with this kid. This is amazing.
Interesting is even Jesus in Matthew 21 drove out the money changers in the temple because they were manipulating the currency to steal money from the people.
I think she is reading it.
The private banks are just like the money changers in Matthew 21. They are defrauding and robbing the people of Canada, thus their freedom, and they need to be stopped. How should the banking system work? In an infamous interview, Mr. McGeer asked Mr. Towers, "Can you tell me why a government with power to create money should give that power away to a private monopoly and then borrow that which Parliament can create itself back at interest to the point of national bankruptcy?" Mr. Towers replied, "If Parliament wants to change the form of operating the banking system, then certainly that is within the powers of Parliament. In other words, if the Canadian government needs money, they can borrow it directly from the Bank of Canada. The people would then pay fair taxes to repay the Bank of Canada. This tax money would in turn get injected back into our economic infrastructure and the debt would be wiped out. Canadians would again prosper with real money as the foundation of our economic structure and not debt money. Regarding the debt money owed to the private banks, such as the Royal Bank, we would simply have the Bank of Canada print the money owing, hand it over to the private banks, and then clear the debt with the Bank of Canada. And yes, we have the power and lawful right to do so. In conclusion, it has become painfully obvious, even for me, a 12-year-old Canadian, that we are being defrauded and robbed by the banking system and a complicit government. What will we do to stop this crime? What will we do to ensure that the next generation will live free and clear of the debt-based economy that enslaves them to the banks?
Well, she's saying banks, but it's a central bank is behind all of this. The central bank is the evil thing. It's what creates it's what creates the enslavement. This is why we're all slaves, because we are working, you borrow $1 and you got to borrow another $1 because you got to use that $1 to pay the interest on the first $1. And it's this endless system of, indebtedness. And that's why. And so when I hear Trump talking about, we'll get rid of this tax, we'll get rid of this tax. Well, the next tax to go is taxes, period. Right.
That's right.
And those
Yep.
80,000 new IRS agents, remember they were going to shake down the big people.
Oh, yeah.
They're not. They're going to shake down you. That's who they're shaking down, baby.
Party time.
Party time for the IRS, not for you though. Party time. Party time. Party time. Let's see if I can get it to go off. No. See, when you want it to go, there it goes. Boom.
There we go.
There we go. Boom, baby.
Fireworks.
So,
Let's get some
fireworks. Some fireworks. Yeah. Nice. There we go. So this little kid knows more of what's going on. I mean, anybody can get up there and read it, but at least it's spot on. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, did she write it? I don't know. Did she have help? Doesn't matter. The point is that it's pretty amazing to hear a kid talk like that.
What's the difference between Ripple releasing billions of tokens when price is rising and the Fed firing up the printers? It's all just stealing your purchase power or token value. Now, with Ripple, the tokens already exist. They're already out there. It's not like they're creating them. They might be releasing them into the marketplace if there's use within the institutions, if there's need of it. Is that release and, flooding of the market, putting out more? Is it filling all the buy orders? Is that what's keeping price point down versus the Fed printing money and creating new dollars, which is devaluing the US dollar? There's a distinction between, the currency that already exists and is being held by, I believe it would be different if Ripple was creating, if they had a way to create XRP and all of a sudden there was more XRP in existence. I think that would be a distinction. Everybody knows there's a certain volume already there. That would be like if the US held the US dollars in a treasury and it was already accounted for and they moved them into the marketplace because we needed more liquidity. I guess you could create price point stability by just creating more volume of circulated currency. That could be a way to do it versus what they're doing there is we already had a set valuation, but they're not just releasing what already exists. They're creating more. So it's devaluing the currency versus maintaining stability of currency.
Jeff, we almost have 500 people watching right now. I'd love to see that.
Pretty good.
Let's see it.
But that's a good point, though. I mean, I think it definitely circulating supply does affect the price point on the asset, but it doesn't affect the price point on the US dollar. If you have more in circulation that already existed, if it was sitting in a box someplace, let's say it was in a vault, there was $1 million in the vault and everybody knew it was there and you decide you needed more liquidity, you put it out, it's not going to devalue the currency versus now we only had accounted for $1 million, but they created 2 million and they put 2 million out. I believe by creating an extra $1 million, now you put more in overall existence. But I think, to your point, it would have the XRP release would have, or the Bitcoin, if there was more out there in circulation where you could accumulate it, could potentially do that. But if you look at the price point of Doge, why is there any rationale over why Doge price went from 0.0000 whatever up to 16 or 17 cents when it has an infinite number?
So is Ethereum potentially too, right? You can spin up more.
Right.
Like Jim G just woke up.
I don't know.
Jim G just woke up, man. So Lily Tang Williams, this is before she won her primary race, but I'm going to put up a video of her talking to, making some points in a session here. But she won her Republican race in New Hampshire.
Right. Definitely.
And look at this.
Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to
solid.
My live free or die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the US, in DC, will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
there's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns.
Damn.
Never,
Boom,
never. And
drop
you
the
should
bomb.
go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of CCP.
She set that up so beautifully, man. The
Yeah,
debate
that
is
was-
over. That's the
Yep.
protect from tyranny. That's what it is. And this is how the morons
never do
outside,
that.
the leftist nut jobs that engage with me constantly on
Mhm.
X. We gave up. We don't have guns in the UK, and we're fine. Everything's good. People in Australia, we don't have guns, and we don't have mass shootings, and it's just the greatest place in the world. Well, don't worry, because you're on your way out. You're not going to be. But I know in Australia the people have guns still. But I'm talking about these people. These leftists will engage in this way that they'll talk about. Oh, we don't have our guns. I'm like, you guys are. You think it's to protect each other? It's to protect against the government. There's 340 million people. There's 360 million guns.
That's right.
Do the math.
The problem with what's going on in the U.S. as they try to strip the rights is that the leftists, whether they understand it or not, will continue to laugh, thinking, oh, well, our form of socialism is going to be different because we want to help the people. If you talk to the average person on the street versus the corrupted politician that is trying to push us into a Marxist direction. But the average person will say, oh, well, we're going to be different. And there's never a different. That's what everybody says every single time. And if you look at Australia, it's a slippery slope, even on Australia, because even if there's a small percentage that still hold guns, the laws that they're entertaining to pass keep stripping the Australians of their freedoms. Right. And so it's just a matter of time. How many freedoms do you have to lose until you can no longer fight back? It doesn't even matter if you have those guns. Like here in this country, we have to continue to maintain our freedoms. Our Constitution and our system of government was meant to slow walk all policy and all law through over a period of time. And so that slow walk really helps prevent things from happening that will strip us of our rights, because it allows so much discourse and discussion. It's when they ignore those laws that are on the books, say that we need new laws, focus all their time and energy of creating new laws, and they lie about it. And at the same point, they use executive order to circumvent the law and do certain things, or they'll just come out and do certain things that have to be brought to the court to be found out that they're unconstitutional. So it's just such a problematic scenario. But Australia, look what they're doing now. They're passing a law on the whole social media misinformation thing, right? So they're going to have law and they're going to regulate misinformation. Kamala Harris talks about how all these platforms have to be regulated. But what is misinformation? We know that the government under Biden and with the Hillary Clinton campaign and many others, and over this period of time, have created all sorts of censorship, fictitious narratives. They made up stories. So it's their information is good, everybody else's information is bad. And they're talking about you need some sort of you almost need an AI third party arbiter. Which is really important, because if you think about some of the things that were done on the Alexis platform, when they said, tell me about Trump, and they said, oh, we can't pick sides. And so, well, tell me about Kamala Harris. And they went into this glowing review of Kamala Harris through the Alexis platform. So you have to say, well, that's misinformation, right? What exactly are we happening? We're cheating the system. So someone is programming to create and cheat the system. And at the other point is that where does your freedom of speech start and end? When they say that it's misinformation, why can't we be parity? Why can't we have an opinion, whether we agree with it or not? We see a lot of opinion that filters through our chat here, and some of it doesn't make any sense.
Jeff, you're losing. We're losing you.
How are you losing me?
Your microphone's. It's all really? and you've.
I think I'm being cut off.
No, I don't know what's happening.
See that? How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Something.
I was saying, with the freedom of speech, there's freedom of speech. You come into our platform, and I've seen people say things on our platform that are not, you can't really adhere to truth, and I know that they're wrong, But you know what? They still have, they can come on. We're going to let people come in and, you know, and have, you know, and have the freedom of expression here. That's how we have discourse. How can you just say your opinion is 100% wrong, but their opinion is derived from certain life experiences? Maybe they are wrong, you know, I mean, historically, factually, you know, but they believe it. They have this adherence to this opinion, and let's have a discourse, because then we all learn, and, you know, and then minds are, you know, people come into an understanding, right? And that's like, you know, I have had family members that, when, you know, they found out that the rest of the family is supporting Trump, all of a sudden they wanted nothing to do, and they left the family. And I said, hey, you know what? I could say, hey, your opinions are meaningless. I'm never going to talk to you again. Like you just told me, you'll never talk to me again. But you know what happened? A couple of years down the road, all of a sudden they have a wake up, and they have a realization that they were 100% on the wrong side of things, and they come back to the fold. Right? I had a political meeting the other night, and I brought up the whole John Deaton thing at this political meeting. And I said, oh, it's in this quandary because he's come out and badmouthed Trump, you know, in one statement, and said he's not going to vote. And I'm completely against that notion that you're not going to support when you know the freedoms and our liberties and our securities at stake in this country. That you have to understand the differences between two candidates and make a decision on who you're voting for. But at the same time, I said that's, people have their right to their opinion. And
Right.
all you can do is just say, hey, you know what? I believe that we're on the right side of it. I think that you're wrong. You're entitled to that opinion, and how you're going to do it. I'm here with my arms open. So when you decide to come back to the fold, I'm waiting for you, you know, and we have to have that discourse. But if both of us are closed off, how are you ever going to come back together on it? You know, I believe that at some point in time, it might be now, maybe it'll be, you know, 20 years from now, maybe after he dies, maybe Gary Gensler will come around and understand the digital marketplace.
He already understands it, but again, he understands it better than most. But it's not when you're in the leftist fold, and you're in the ministry of truth, and you've got to like do what the supreme leader tells you to do, and this is whole thing. Like in the bearded look there, Jeffro.
Look at that.
Jeffro, look at that. Speech of freedom. So, Jeff, you know, Kamala Harris sat down for an interview, and this was one of the excerpts.
Say that. What do you think of that?
Oh, well, I'm not saying he's not a hero, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you can't expect somebody to come out and vote for you if you're not willing to vote yourself. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is, you know? I mean, you know, I'm you know, everyone knows I'm a huge Apple fanboy, but I criticize Apple quite a bit. I don't like the guy that's running Apple. I think the guy's a fool. I think he should be eliminated from the company sooner than later. I think he let some of the best assets go from Apple. I don't like him. I'm not a big fan of Tim Cook. No, it's that. I mean, I don't know who is, but the guy's garbage, absolute garbage. I love John Deaton. John Deaton is a hero. John Deaton is stand up, and we support him to remove the grifter Elizabeth Warren, the fake Indian. Yeah, I definitely have 100% support, but doesn't mean we're not going to call something that we see. We're not going to sit here and pretend that, you know, that something wasn't said, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean you guys disagree with us. It doesn't mean you don't come back for more. It doesn't mean you don't support, you know, on the chain. We support John Deaton 100%. I support him. You know, I just think that you can't say, you know, politics is screwed up. Something Jeff brought up a little bit earlier was the fact about how policy was supposed to move through government. It's supposed to be hard. Do you think, and there's bipartisanship, which is a complete fictitious dream at this point. You got someone way over here and someone way over here. Now, what's in common? Nothing. So this idea of like, we need bipartisan, the only thing that's bipartisan are these giant bloated bills that fund the government and put it in the fat cat's pocket. And they bring money back to their states with all their pork. And Jeff said it. Things are supposed to move slow. They're supposed to be hard to get policy through. That's the checks and balances. You're supposed to have, it's not supposed to be like, oh, we did this bill and signed this one and that everyone's on. No, you're not. It's not supposed to be that. You have, you know, they go, it's a two-party system, but it's a one-party system. Great. Start your own party and enroll people in your ideas, and so that they think they're good, and you enroll enough people into them where people think there's some magical person pushing a button. There's only going to be two parties. No, you can there's multiple parties. It's just that the way of thinking is either one side or left. It's left or it's right. And then there's people that are in between. The libertarians are basically on the left, but they want to pretend that they're all in the freedom and this and that. But look who they elected for the guy that's running, a complete leftist Democrat. He used to be a Democrat. He's running on the Libertarian. He's a nut job. You know, so to think that there's this whole idea of bipartisanship, or we need to return to, we need to reach across the aisle to what? You know what that means? It always means the Republicans fold. Republicans are feckless cowards, and the Democrats always stick to message. They're always on message. They never sell each other out. The Republicans always sell each other out. They always, you know, and one person that taught them how to win was a guy named Donald Trump. He stopped apologizing for all Republicans. When they started with the gotcha questions, well, what do you think about this representative or this senator, Republican senator said that? Doesn't even acknowledge anymore. But that was the left's ticket, that he always would come back, and somebody would screw up on the Republican side, and then every Republican was guilty by association. Do you endorse this? Well, no, I condemn it. You condemn it? What does that mean? You know, it's like it was all these, but that stuff went away. Trump eliminated that, right? So I wanted to. Let me play this one. I want to play this little excerpt from Kamala Harris. She's sitting down with local TV channels, and this is just a soundbite. We have the whole interview. We don't have time to play the whole thing, but you can go watch it. Grifter's going to grift.
My approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years.
And what is that?
To catch up to the 21st century.
And what are we going to do to do that?
Capacity, but also challenges.
She said nothing. Look at his, just a look in his face. He's like, you said nothing.
I mean, what the hell is that gobbledygook?
He's like, I nod. He's like, all right.
I mean, Jeff, what was that? I mean, honestly, what in the damn hell was any of that? I mean, it was.
I don't know. I don't know what anything that she talks about doesn't make sense. How's she going to support crypto? You know, she just makes no sense on anything.
She makes no damn sense. It's like, so she went in there, she remembered all these talking points, she had the answers ahead of time, and she's like, you know, she goes on about this stuff that nobody, I don't even know what she's talking about half the time, you know. And even in that, I mean, you can sound like you're saying something, but what are your policy ideas? Like, tell us what they are. Like, what are you going to do to stave off inflation? You know,
man, it'd be solid. It'd really be solid to hear what Byron Donalds has to say about this stuff. That'd be awesome. That'd be really great. Is John Deaton the member of the bar? Bar A. Which bar? I'm sure. I mean, he's an attorney.
Yeah, he's a member of the bar. He practices in Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just hear the first answer. This is the full interview.
Bar counsel.
The outcome of
listen to the question here. No, here we go with the first question. And watch the first answer. Tell me, Jeff, what she said. Please, you guys in the chat, tell us what she's saying.
Could decide the outcome of this presidential election. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Okay, it's a very simple question. What are one or two specific things that you have in mind for that? Now, keep that in mind as you're listening to the answer for those one or two specific things. And let's see what we hear. Ready? Let's go.
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager.
Okay, so we're still waiting for those one or two specific things to come, but then we'll hang with it a little bit and see if we get there.
I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know,
you know, growing up, people haven't had that same experience, Jeff. She tries to explain it to people. I had an experience. She's going to explain her experience that people have not had growing up.
A lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn.
I don't know what she's talking about, Jeff. I grew up. So please tell us how you explain they were very proud of their lawn.
Yeah.
When she tries to make a point, they were very proud of their lawn. Okay, still waiting for those one or two specific things.
You know?
Yeah.
And and I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity.
She was raised to know that all people deserve dignity. I'm still waiting for the one or two things.
And that we as Americans have a beautiful character. You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions. So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother.
What's she talking about?
She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood, and she was a community leader. She hired locally, she mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it.
Do you think her strategy is talk long enough to where the person is so bored listening to her that he forgot the actual question? I mean, what are the 1-2 specific things you're going to create opportunity? So she's talked about her people growing up and lawns, and she's going to invest. People don't have $5,000 to get into a business. I'm still waiting for the 1 or 2 things.
Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage.
What does
and
that
what
have to
that
do with
means,
opportunity?
in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable.
Yeah, well, thanks for 3.5 years of nothing and 3.5 years. By the way, she will be vice president. We know Joe Biden is pretty much checked out. He's barely alive.
Completely checked out. So the question is, Chip, who's running the country? What's her real experience? Why is she covering up? One of the things she said when her mother raised enough money to buy a house, right?
Yeah, she talks about that. Yeah.
She didn't say her parents when her parents, raised enough money. Her mother was has a PhD, a doctorate, and she is, according to her details here, she was born in Oakland. I don't know where she grew up specifically, but let me see here. It says
right here, I'll tell you.
the mother was a breast cancer scientist, and when she moved to the U.S. when she was 19, got her doctorate, her PhD, when Kamala was born. But she talks about as though, both her parents were professors. They both
Marxist.
they were both PhD holders. So she's from Berkeley, not Oakland. Her father was a Marxist professor at Berkeley. There you go. So she grew up at Berkeley, born in Oakland, but where you're born isn't where you grow up. So she grew up in Berkeley around Marxist, leftist ideology, and both her parents were professors. So the way she tries to twist the narratives, the things that she says about herself, they all want to be in working class, diverse environments. That's what they want to portray.
She did grow up in Montreal, Jeff. She grew up in Canada.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot she grew up in Montreal. That's true. That's right. That was the other point. They lived up there for a while too, in Canada. So what is this? The whole point of all of this, she's, both of them holding PhDs. They went on for these advanced degrees, Marxist ideology, and and yet she grew up in this diverse environment, and she wants to portray herself as something different than what she really is, and and it's crazy. I mean, just the ideas that she has just doesn't make much sense. I'm just looking
make no sense.
I'm just looking at her post here on the White House. This is the stuff that she portrays here, and then she talks about how much work she's done for the past 4 years, what she's done fighting for the people. Look, fighting for the people is nothing new. What has she done? What has she actually done?
She's not running on any record. as a VP or a senator. So she has to go back to prosecutor days, and great, prosecuting people, throwing them in prison for pot. I mean, it's ridiculous. But listen, look at this. Let's look at this ad here.
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses. But we've got to increase the corporate tax rate. State taxes are going to have to go up. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
I will snatch their patent so that we will take over. The question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
The cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. Bidenomics is working. It's working. It's a term we're very proud of, I must tell you. I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies. Now, I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. I want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Fight, Daddy. My love, you must fight.
Fight. I love you, Dad. I'm proud of you, son.
I will not ban fracking. I'm in favor of banning fracking. It has to be legislation, but yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. When it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace.
These dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again.
Name a favorite candidate. It used to be Joe Biden. Support Ms. Harris. So that is what we are going to do.
What I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible. One who brings a sense of optimism.
We all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. Belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page.
Don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird?
There you go.
USA.
Lion.
So much joy. She's so passionate. So I mean, just it's crazy, right?
But that's what they told you about the joy, right? They told you all about the joy.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably the best little mix that came around. Look at this, Jeff. This is pretty good right here.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, 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 eat the cat. They're eating the dogs.
I don't know where people put all this. It's great. Oh my God.
There's so many of those where the dogs are like reacting to the sound bite. I mean, it's just unbelievable, man. And then so for the 9/11 celebrations, they showed up in a there was it was filled mostly with firefighters and stuff. And so you'll watch Biden and Harris walk in, and then you'll watch what happens when Trump walks in. And this is in Pennsylvania. Okay, there they are walking in. There's Biden and Harris walking into the venue. Nobody even cares. No one's looking at them. No one even knows they're there.
Oh, this is something else. I can't believe this. This is so crazy.
There he is.
It's amazing. Like nothing. Like as though they didn't even walk in. That was great.
Pennsylvania, remember? They told you Pennsylvania, they hate Trump there? Sure. Okay. So, I mean, what a contradiction right there. I mean, what a incredible. They walk in, Biden puts his arms out like this. Nobody cares. Nobody could care, Jeff. Nobody even knew they were there. Nobody even acknowledged the fact they were there. They didn't even turn around. And as soon as Trump, there he is. I just find that to be incredibly ridiculous. And I got one more video here, and we can call it a day. But remember that little guy called Tucker? instead of Tucker. It was like take off of Tucker Carlson, but here we go.
You think you've seen it all. President Biden raises the bar. Was it a blunder or was it something else? Either way, a widely circulated clip shows our alleged commander-in-chief donning a Trump cap at a 9/11 commemoration event. Of course, the White House is claiming it was a gesture of unity. But we've just received some top-secret leaked footage from Capitol Hill. And trust me, folks, you're going to want to see this. Let's check it out.
Joe, I'm going to ask you nicely. What in the absolute fuck are you playing at, you stupid old man?
Jill? Is that you, Jill? Where the hell am I?
Cut the crap, Joe. You're killing me here. Kamala crushed the debate, and so what? You decided to steal her thunder, is that it?
I like thunderstorms. They make me feel cozy. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Can I get an ice cream, by the way?
Don't play cute with me, Joe. You just handed Trump the best photo op of his campaign wearing that stupid thing.
Actually, Miss Chettle gave him the best photo of his campaign. But sure, nice try.
I don't like what you're insinuating, Joe, and I do not appreciate your insolence.
Jill, can we go home now?
You need to give that hat back, Joe, or things won't end well for you.
The hat stays on, Barry. The hat stays on.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Joe.
They're eating the dogs, Barry. They're eating the goddamn dogs.
Send in the goons.
Hand over the merch, Mr. President.
Take him back to the basement, guys, and throw away the key.
Make America great again. Drain the swamp. Fight the machine. Down with the deep state.
The ticker is Tooker.
What is the tick, 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 tick? You know the ticker.
There you have it. All right. What are you going on? You're writing a paper there, Jeff? I don't know what you're doing. You got something important going on over there. Writing something. Anyway, that is where we are. Look at this right here. Enorm says, Bob, you mean the progressive left? You mean libertarians? Yeah. Same, one and the same. People want you to think that they're not. They are absolutely 100% spot on. Yeah. Thank you and good night. And that's all we have here. The banter team does such a good job with those. They really do. They really do. But anyway, that's all the time we have, guys. We did an hour 36 today, and we are calling it a day, and we will be back tomorrow night. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Jeff?
We covered a lot, all real critical, important information. I'm glad to see everybody that's joining in here with us and, hanging in there with us. We had almost 600 people total with X and YouTube over here. We got like 74, 75 people here on YouTube. I'd like to see more people engaged on YouTube as well. But, we get a lot of people engaged here with commentary on YouTube, not as much coming in from X. But man, this is great. We're at such a critical point in our history right now, and educating, understanding, and learning from each other as we move through this, and really understanding what's going to bring us to clarity for the crypto space, and allowing innovation to flourish and more development in the space. So this is all really great. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to dig in, dissect, and workshop more information. So that's what we got. And we've got the Badass Yeti coffee. There's the Obsidian Bold, nice dark roast. Check it out. Go to badassyetiscoffee.com. Go check out the coffee. It is a small batch roast. It gets roasted when you order it. You order it, gets roasted, gets shipped to you just like that. So it's fresh, real good quality, really good good flavors. And we go from a dark roast to the Brewed Awakening, which is more of like a medium light roast, if that's what you prefer. I like putting it through the espresso maker. I have the stovetop Machinetta espresso maker, and it's awesome. It's so awesome. Chip, I like eating those coffee beans right out of the bag.
Oh, they're delicious.
Crunchy nut flavor. They're really
But
good.
they're not dry. That's the whole thing. Most of the time to get coffee, it's been sitting on the shelf for 6 months to a year. This is basically roasted. You have fresh roasted coffee within a week, shipped right direct to your house.
There you go.
Incredible. But that's the Badass Yeti's coffee. It is something really, really fantastic. And I dropped it in there, badassyetiscoffee.com. I dropped it right in there. And you can always, if you're on the rewatch, you're not in the chat, you can find it down below in the right underneath the YouTube video. You can see all the links down there as well. Also to the Badass Yetis themselves. Yep. And Jeff, is it any good?
Nah, it's fucking great.
It's great, baby. It's good stuff. It's the best. Guys, we'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Oh.
Oh.
Wait a minute. We'll play that. I'm waiting for the outro. Yeah. Ready? Chip and Jeff. Oh.
Well.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.